Hello everyone, welcome to Cellopedia, this is Maxim. It's so exciting that you decided to start learning how to play cello, and I'm here to help you with the first few steps. I'll share with you very useful tips how to make your experience enjoyable and how to avoid many beginner mistakes. Looks like something is wrong. This cello is not good fit for me. How to avoid this kind of mistake? Our cellos come in different sizes. And here is the list of suggestions of the size of the cello according to your age. Of course, you could be a bit shorter than average or much taller, so you will have to adjust it. But it cannot go very wrong if you start according with this list. And why don't I change this 1/8 size of cello, which is good for 7 years old, to adult size cello, which will be good for me. Okay, this is a full size cello, which is good for adults. But regardless of what kind of cello you need, you actually have to learn how to use an endpin. It's something which neither guitar or violin has. You have to use this metal or carbon fiber rod to play cello. You need to loosen a screw, and here it is, hiding inside of cello. It has to be about a foot or half a meter long, but no worries, you can always make an adjustment. You tighten this screw, turn the cello this way, and get ready to play. You have to have a cello at your left side, like this. No matter if you're right or left-handed, we will use the cello and later on the bow the same way. There should be about 45 degrees angle between your neck and the cello, roughly diagonal position, and with an endpin out, it should be like this, with this part of the cello pegs and the scroll behind your neck. If you put cello down and you find it in this position, that means your endpin is too short, and you just loosen up the screw and make it somewhat longer. Then you tighten a screw and try it again, and hopefully now it's good. It's very important to check that the neck of the cello doesn't lean against your shoulder. It seems to be counterintuitive, but it will not help because your upper body should be able to move freely when you play. Your right knee should be touching the side of the cello, and your left knee has to be behind the cello, touching it somewhere here. It's a very common mistake to squeeze cello with both knees like this. Try to avoid this mistake because that will only create tensions in your body and your cello will never be at the correct angle. This way, if your posture is correct, your cello should be turned a little bit to the right. Before you start making sound, you need to make sure that your cello is tuned. Usually at first you need help with that. We tune cello with fine tuners and pegs. If cello is tiny bit off, it's easier to use fine tuners, turning them clockwise to make a string higher and counterclockwise to make it lower. But again, the best would be if somebody else would help you to tune cello first few times. Learning how to tune cello takes a while. I made a separate video about this and you'll find a link in the description. And it's time to make our first sound. Usually we do it pizzicato. That means we just pluck a string with right hand. You could use index or middle finger to do that. In order to make a sound, you pull the string to the right and release it. That was A string. By the way, it's good time to learn names of the strings and the way they look on the music stuff. I just played for you A on the A string. I'll do it again. And A is the top line in the bass clef. Once you see the note in the middle line, it's D, the second string. Again, I'm pulling the string to the right with my index finger and releasing it. The third string is G, the bottom line. And finally, the lowest note you can play on cello is C string. In order to write it in music, you'll have to use 2 extra ledger lines below the music stuff. So far we were talking about cello, but let's not forget to learn how to use a very important tool, a bow. The white part is horsehair, and the stick could be made of wood or even carbon fiber. The screw of the bow is very important part. You turn it counterclockwise, it makes hair much looser, and to tighten it, you turn it clockwise. The stick of the bow should never be straight or even this way. It always has to be curved a little bit towards the hair. If the stick is too tight, you will be making rough sound, or quite often your bow can even break. Very important part of bow maintenance is rosin. You should rosin the bow before every practice session. Your rosin might look quite different, but in essence is a tree sap with some extra ingredients. And when you rub it against the hair, tiny particles get stuck to the hair, and then when you play, the bow makes good sound because it helps the bow to stick to the string a little bit better. How to hold the bow? Your first instinct will be to hold it like this in a fist. That might seem to be very good idea. You're strong, you'll be making strong sound, but it will not work well because your bow will get no flexibility and you will not be able to move it with precision required to make a good sound. Here's a quick way to start with a decent bow hold. Shake your fingers, make sure they are relaxed, and put it here with the middle finger touching the ring. There should be little space between fingers, and they will naturally fall on the correct spot. Your middle finger will be sticking just a little bit this way, your index finger will be in this position, and ring finger and pinky will be loosely touching the bow from other side. It's important to take care of the thumb. Your thumb will have to be a little bit curved, and make sure that you avoid the beginner's mistake. Don't stick your thumb here. It seems to be that this part of the bow, a frog, is made to do just that, but it's not correct way. Your thumb should be touching the bow from this side, and when you will be holding the bow, your wrist will have to be round. And now let's make our first sound. Let's start putting the bow on the second string. Do you remember which one is it? Yes, it's D. You put the bow on the string and start moving it to the right. Your goal is to keep the bow moving this way without changing the angle. If your bow will be at a wrong angle, like this or that, it will move this way or that way. And you will hear very bad quality sound because of that. Very important exercise will be just to imagine moving the bow in the air. You have to make sure that your wrist is flexible. When you pass approximately 1/3 of the bow, your wrist should be turning this way. And then when you go back, it should come back to the round shape. Down, up, down, up. Let's try it with the bow, again on the second D string. It's usually much trickier than it looks like. Be patient, do it number of times, and your goal has to be to produce good quality sound. And usually you will see that in order to do that, your bow should stay roughly between the bridge and the fingerboard. And now I'll show you how it works on other strings, starting from the top string A. Nobody would want to play cello if you could make only 4 different notes. So here we are, we need to learn how to use the left hand to produce all other notes. You notice that I have 4 tapes on the fingerboard. It looks a little bit like a guitar. It's very good help for beginners, especially if they don't have an experienced cellist helping them to start. We will be using only 4 fingers. Thumb, for quite a while, will be at the other side of the cello neck. We will not be using it to make notes. So the index finger is number 1, middle finger 2, ring finger 3, and pinky number 4. Why those numbers are important? Because in your printed music, you will often see those numbers on top or sometimes below the notes. That will help you to figure out which finger you have to use. If you see 1, you will have to use the first finger. If you see 2, you will have to use 2 fingers. If you see 3, 3 fingers. And then if you see number 4, of course, you will use all 4 fingers pressing down on the string. Your thumb will be at the opposite side of the neck of the cello, roughly in between first and second fingers. Try to avoid putting too much pressure. Your goal is to make a string to touch a fingerboard, this black part of the cello. Once you achieve that, an additional effort will just make you too tired, and you will not be able to play for long. Do you remember how we played pizzicato, plucking the strings? So now you'll prepare your first finger, index finger, you put it on the string and press a little bit so you feel that string is in a good contact with the fingerboard. Once it happened, you can pluck the string the same way we did a few minutes ago. And instead of A, when you just played an open string without left hand, you will get B, a different note. The same will happen on the D string. Instead of D, you will get E. On G string, instead of G, you will get A. And on fourth string, instead of C, you'll get D. Little by little, you will learn all other notes. Just a suggestion, when you press with some fingers on the fingerboard, make sure that other fingers which you're not using are not sticking out like this. You want to keep them fairly close to the string, so when you actually are about to use them, they are right there, so it will not take that much time and effort to make them ready. It is very important to keep your fingers round, especially first and second fingers. Try to experiment with your wrist position. Move your wrist a bit this way, and it will be harder for fingers to bend. At times, it's impossible to control pinky, and in many cases, it's okay if it's a little bit on the flat side. But other fingers have to be round. You'll have to use very tips of your fingers to press on the string. You might feel that your fingers are sore, but no worries, soon it will go away, the skin will harden a bit, and you will start enjoying playing cello as much as I do. Few tips for practicing. First of all, make sure that all the time you spend practicing, you actually are paying attention to what you're doing. Once you're tired and start thinking about something else, just stop playing. It will not make it better. Just sitting there for more time will not help you to progress. Your practice sessions might be 15-20 minutes at first. And then later on, when you start learning more and more music, you can practice longer. It will make a big difference to have a teacher, an experienced cellist to work with you. If it's not possible, try to explore other options. For instance, I recorded a number of cello courses on Udemy online teaching platform. If you would like to check it out, I'll put a link in the description with a special Cellopedia beginners discount. And if you have questions, please share them in the comment section for this video. This is a big community of cellists, so either I or other members of Cellopedia will be happy to help you. And most important thing, welcome to the cello world. I'm so happy you joined us. It's a long and exciting way. Stay with us and you will make a lot of progress.